in form and they were in bad form too. Mo, if I
Yeah.
may.
Go ahead.
Listen,
That
I think it's
stadium under the lights as well. Go ahead, Staffy. Sorry.
yeah, I think it's a combination of issues. I understand Sam was calling you out, obviously, for banter, Terry, but the reason we do reference you, number one, we work with you, so it's always a little bit like fun to just
Yeah,
go
of
back
course,
and
of
revisit
course, of
our
course.
takes. So we all remember the stuff that we say. That's the beauty of Straight Facts. It's like a Netflix show. You always go back and you just remember what happened in the last episode. I think one of the issues that were presented this season with Arsenal fans and all the stuff that we've been talking about, I felt like there was a lack of acknowledgement to how bad the squad building has become over the last two transfer windows. I was here after the United game when we lost 2-0 on set pieces, and I said, congrats on the 3 points. You deserve them on the day. You are the better team. However, if I'm in 5 years into my process with a new manager, and this is how I'm winning games this season, unconvincingly most times. Yes, you do have one very strong flex on teams, which is set pieces. But outside of that, I think you're just as good or less than a lot of teams out there. It's still not good enough. A lot of people thought it was saltiness. It really wasn't. The summer, same thing. I said it is no longer a process when you go back on some of your principles. A process is getting from destination A to destination B. As I said before, if I want to walk out of that door, the process is I got to take every step towards that door until I actually exit it. If I change my direction and I start walking the other way, it is no longer a process because I change where I want to go. Arteta built a very good attacking team in his first 3 years, and all Arsenal fans were very happy with the brand of football he was playing. We called it very similar to Pep. He was recruiting a certain type of players, and it was working, and it was looking good, and he eventually became a contender. I think the minute they became contenders, he started changing his approach a little bit. Terry, you'll remember this. I said it one time when I had a debate with Souls. I said I think he went into a defensive mindset a little bit too early. I think I said he did what Pep did, which is starting playing more center backs and recruiting more physical players into this team. But he's done it a little bit early. Pep did it when he was winning, but it became a point where City were just scoring a tremendous amount of goals, and they were just very weak on the counter. He's like, you know what, Bunda, I need to have a full lineup, a full back four of center backs. I looked at the recruitment that they made, and I didn't agree with it. I didn't think Calafiori should have been a priority. I didn't like the Marino signing. Sterling, I'm not even going to speak about. And I know, as I said, a lot of Arsenal fans want a striker, and I understand why. The Havertz missed yesterday. He actually explains it more. But I said the attacking signings was the biggest issue. I've been an advocate for how long now saying they need a left winger. Hassan, you said something earlier that I don't agree with. You said their best player was out and their best player was out. So you compared who? Gomes to Saka. You know what the difference is? When Gomes is out, you look at that midfield. I forgot who started yesterday, but look at that midfield. They still have Tonali and they still have Joelinton. So the drop-off...
Tonali, Joelinton, Willock.
Thank you.
He still looks better than Arsenal midfielder.
Exactly, Mo. But here's the thing: you lose one of those three midfielders. The other two still kind of keep the level of how good that midfield is. Because that midfield with Willock in there, there's still a lot of pace, there's still a lot of power, there's still a lot of ball retention. There's everything in that midfield. You lose Saka, you generally drop off by a country mile. But without Saka, I was listening to the match reaction yesterday. Remember, Mo, I texted you when the Arsenal reps were speaking. I said it's actually not that difficult. People were sitting there and they kept blaming Odegaard.
No personality.
I think Odegaard has been poor. But here's the thing. You are not reliant on one player for creativity anyways. Once Saka's out of that team, there is generally zero creativity of the wings. I understand Havertz can be missing his focus.
Yeah, Hussam.
Your mic is just trash today. Your mic is just trash. The front line yesterday, without Saka, again, I'm looking at that front line. That front line is unable to break a lot of teams.
Can I interject and ask a question before you go about that front line? And I want to ask everyone in the chat this. Rory talks football. He's a friend. He does a lot of shows with me. He did a lot of shows with the Football Terrace before as well. He was speaking at the end of 2024 about how good Kai Havertz numbers were with non-penalty GA compared to Haaland and all this stuff. And at that time, I went back and I checked. At that time, he released that video. It was a true thing. He was speaking facts. He was saying There is, if you're saying that Haaland is the best striker in the world, and if Kai Havertz is matching that output, that means by definition, Kai Havertz is great. What happened? I want to know what happened. Why Kai Havertz went from having a 2024 is matching Erling Haaland, non-penalty GA, to Kai Havertz today being completely out of the game. Look at how he played yesterday. Look how he played the days before. Something has happened in this Arsenal team that made Kai Havertz not be the guy that was scoring goals, being clutch last season, the guy this season that completely. Look at him yesterday. He's going for the bodies. Again, it's Man United. He was trying to hurt Maguire, and De Ligt is not even trying to play the ball. Somehow, something happened. That's why I wanted to ask people, because I don't know the answer. How could you go from being matching Erling Haaland to today?
Do you know what?
But do you expect Havertz to keep up with Haaland numerically? I think that's a little bit deluded if you think so. Like, does anyone?
That's a fact. Stuff like that was a fact. He literally matched Erling Haaland non-penalty GA.
No. I know it's a fact, but to keep up with him. So what the video you're talking about that Rory made, I don't know when that was, but whatever it was over that period of time, do you really expect that Kai Havertz in any team that he's playing in being the player that he is, which is not an out-and-out goal scorer anyways, you think he's going to keep up numerically with Haaland? You think he's that level where he's going to keep up with him for a whole season?
But to be at least a little guy, the guy is turning into literally, with all due respect, he's turning into a donkey on the pitch. With all what I mean, a donkey, I don't mean disrespect to Havertz, but I mean you're turning into someone who's not.
To answer your point, Mo, right? I think it's a combination of a couple of things. I think the confidence is really low in the attack for this Arsenal team right now. Now, everyone will have a different person to blame, but confidence plays a big part in attackers. We've actually seen Haaland, for a player of his goal-scoring ability, for a player of his level, Haaland has had what I would say, when City was struggling in that 12-13 game run with one win, he was struggling to score because confidence is important. The lack of creativity was there. That plays a part. The thing with Kai Havertz, this is why I said Kai Havertz has been a good signing. And Arsenal fans are doing what I've seen my fan base do, and I mean Man United fans, not my literal fan base. I don't think I have one. And all of our clubs have done. Sometimes you sign a player that isn't quite what you need. And that player seems to get a lot of the stick, as opposed to, well, he's actually delivering against his levels, but you need more, right? And I think that what's being exposed here is Kai Havertz is never going to be the guy that scores those half chances. Half chances have now got a new game. They're called low XG chances. I still think half chances sound better. That isn't Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is never going to be that guy who scores those low opportunity goals. And I think those two things combined, when other players are not delivering, becomes a major issue. So Kai Havertz will probably score. I don't know what's he scored. What's he scored this season in all comps for Arsenal? If I say 12 goals, I might be lying. I don't know. Let me go and check. Halfway through the season, what's he on goal-wise? Let me go and check now. 12 goals, yeah, in all comps. 14 last season. So he's, if he ends up this season on 24 goals, let's say he doubles that, right? He ends up on 24 goals. That is not a bad return of goals in all competition. I think his salary is a little bit too high for a player that's scoring at that level. He isn't the out-and-out problem. Trossard and Martinelli being nowhere near, and the irony about them two not being anywhere near their levels, when you actually speak to the Arsenal fans that come on our shows, who are the biggest sort of, who are quite big detractors of Arteta, they're players that they rated. They're the players that they were like, best technicians, best ballers, best this. Those guys haven't delivered where they need to. So plus they haven't gone and bought that prolific striker. So I think it becomes a combination of things. If, for instance, Martinelli was performing like 2 years ago, or had done what he should have done, or Arsenal fans hoped he would do, go to another level. If Trossard was delivering like he was at other stages in his Arsenal career, Kai Havertz tracking towards 24 goals this season probably wouldn't be an issue, because they're also delivering. But it's a combination. So I don't think it's just because Kai Havertz isn't this deadly prolific scorer. There's multiple other factors of the attack that ain't right. You look at the last 3 or 4 games, they've won most of them, or they're not lost most of them. Odegaard's been an absolute ghost. Odegaard's been really, really poor, and the creativity isn't there. And what's the alternative to him? And they've got Waneri, but he's not he starts a couple of games and he's picked up an injury. So listen, I'm not defending Kai Havertz in isolation. I still think they need a goal scorer who's more prolific than him. There's more prolific than Martinelli. But I don't think, and this is where I think Arteta and the board have got to look at themselves. If there's any arrogance here going on, drop it. What you're trying right now through system and personnel, it's going to make you a top 4 team. It's going to make you competitive. But I don't think it's going to get you over the line to win the league. I think they've got to eat a little bit of humble pie here, because I don't think this is a terrible Arsenal team and Arsenal squad. It's got a few holes in it, and you fill those holes with the right quality player, and I think Arsenal can do the business.
I think he's maxed out what he can achieve with this team, Terry. I'm being really honest.
And I agree.
In this camp.
Hang on a second. So, let me ask you. I want to let you finish that answer. Even if he was to sign Gyökeres and say he signed Gyökeres and he signed Nico Williams, you still
It's not
don't
going to
think...
happen, though.
Hang on. But let me ask a question.
Hypothetically speaking.
So even if he signed, because he's linked to these players, right? So it's semi-hypothetical. Say he signs a couple of these players he's linked to. Do you still think he's tapped out and won't get over the line?
I can't listen. I can't give a different answer because I haven't seen it. I can only tell you what I think would happen, and I don't think so. And I'll tell you why. I've seen the attacking signings that he's made over the last few years, and I've seen the way he used them. Your best attacking outlet was someone you didn't even sign, which is Saka. Saka was just there. He's an academy product. Every player they signed, listen, I'm not saying Havertz has been horrible. I just don't think he's been that amazing. Every attacking signing he's made, I don't think he took him to the next level. I think that the thing with Arteta is, when I say he's maxed out, I don't sit in this camp where he's been shit for 5 years. There's people that are sitting there yesterday and saying, oh, I've been telling you for 5 years he's shit. Well, that's not true, is it? Because he hasn't been shit for 5 years. He's actually made you a competitor. If you sat there 5 years ago, and I'm not taking a dig at anyone, by the way, I listened to a lot of opinions on Twitter. There's people that sat there for 5 years saying, oh, he's never going to be good enough. But these people actually didn't think they'll be able to compete with Arteta. So he actually proved you wrong. I just think he reached his ceiling. You can sign a Gyökeres, and I don't trust that you're going to be able to put a system where you're playing attacking enough to feed him enough goals. Because I just think, I don't know. I look at the way that he's approached his attack. What's the best thing about this Arsenal team? Their back line. I think he's shown that he's actually a better defensive coach than he is an attacking coach. A couple years ago, we were calling him a B-Tech Pep. We were wrong. If anything, he's more of a Simeone, because he's been able to build a decent spine that's good defensively. Going forward, I just don't think he maxes out the potential of his players. I haven't seen Martinelli improve. I haven't seen Trossard when he goes into his team, and I really like him. I haven't seen him take the next level and improve. I haven't seen Kai Havertz do anything different than what I've seen at Chelsea. The only one that probably went to the next level, and that's maybe more of a testament on how good of a talent he is Saka. So
And
I can't sit here and tell him one or two players.
Odegaard.
I don't believe
And-
Odegaard was talented anyway.
And Ben White. And
Let
Ben
me just
White.
say one thing
And
more.
Gabriel. And Saliba. And Ramsdale. And David Raya.
What
Have
about
some
them?
guys.
Okay, Mo. Let me
He
just say,
improved
What
all
about
of
them? What about
them.
them? What about them?
He improved all of them,
But
guys.
I just said that going forward.
Yeah, sorry. Mm.
I just said
Yeah,
improving the attack.
Before,
I said
before you
he's
go,
done very well with the
Sorry.
back line.
No,
before
he
you-
improved even
going forward.
forwards.
Yeah, Habibi, I just named all the attacking signings, and I don't think he took him to the
He
next level.
he actually improved Havertz. Havertz at Chelsea
I
was
don't
way
know.
less
I
than
don't know if
this.
I agree.
Yeah.
I
he
don't know if
improved-
I agree.
People didn't think that Havertz in the second half of the season would have 14 goals, bro. When he played the striker last season,